Hey, this is Luke Symes with Salt Strong. Today we're going to be showing how to spool a spinning reel and how to do it yourself. Obviously you can take it to a dealer, but if you do it yourself, you can actually do it in a way that will have less line twists in the line. So I actually personally recommend doing it yourself. Don't use the dealers. It doesn't take much. And what we're going to use, we're going to be spooling up some braid. I have some braid I want to test out. I've still haven't used this. So we're going to put this braid on, but we need more than just the reel and rod and the braid. We need all this right here. And this is going to be an order of operations. So first, we need some monofilament line. The reason why we need monofilament line is because the braid, if you put braid straight to the arbor and it doesn't have a rubber gasket, that braid can just automatically spin around the arbor, and it's going to be totally busted. You're going to have to, it will be useless because there's no pressure on the line. So the mono grips onto the arbor really well, and that's why we do it. Also, even though this is a 2500 reel, it's a pretty small spinning reel, this holds 240 line, approximately 240 yards of line that is this diameter. We only have 150 yards. That's a problem. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to build up a base with the mono. Much more affordable to build up a base with mono than it is to use the more expensive braid. Also, we're going to need some scissors, right, to cut the lines. We're going to need a wet towel, a little wet washcloth, just to help build pressure in the line itself. And we're going to need, this is a little trick I learned recently, a cardboard box and a pencil. This is going to hold the line. So this is going to hold the line steady while we're retrieving it. So I'll put the line in there and it'll be ready to rock, and you'll see how it all works. So first, we have to get the mono on the reel itself. So when you do this, step number one, always do this right away, is you want to put the line, thread the line straight through the top eye. Because you want it, when we spool it up, it needs to go through this top eye. It's easy to forget, so go ahead and do that right away. Then we're going to flip the bail open, and we're going to use the Arbor Knot, or I just use this Arbor Knot. There's a lot of knots you can use. This knot isn't very important because you should never get to the very end. You should always just palm the spool before a fish can take all your line out. So we're going to do two sets of overhand knots. So overhand knot, pull it over the reel, pull it tight. Another overhand knot, pull it tight. And that's it. And then we can just go ahead and pull this tight. We can pull it so that the tag end is mostly hidden. And there. So now this mono, so I can pull on it and it's gripping the arbor. So we're good. So now we need to go ahead and start spooling this mono on. And what we're going to do, for many years, just to show a misconception, for many years I was taught to do label up so that the braid, or so that the line would kind of twist off and then go into the reel without any twists. But the reality is that you actually don't care if the line is twisted when it's in the reel, because that doesn't matter. Where you don't want the twist is up in the line itself. So the best way to do it is to do it just like you're spooling a bait casting reel, is have the line going straight, not curved, straight, and going straight off the spool. That way it's basically going straight into the guides, perfectly straight, no twist. That's what you want. And then even though this spinning reel is going to be twisting the line, it's going to twist the line on, and then when it goes out, it's going to twist out. And so at the end of the day, right, the line going out is going to have no twist. That's what you want. Most people do label side up. I did it for many years, and it actually doesn't work quite as well. This is the better way. And it's easier, another good thing. So as far as how to do it, we'll go ahead and poke a hole in the line, or in the middle of that spool. Then we're going to line it up with here so that we then can get this spool totally freed up. So now we have this spool sitting right there in the box. Perfect. And what I normally do is I'm sitting down when doing it, and I kind of squeeze this with my feet and I can apply tension. But I don't have a chair here right now, so we're just going to hopefully hope that it props up against that light. And so big important thing is that when you are putting the line on the reel, at every point when you're putting line on your reel, you have to have tension on the line. You do not want this line going on the reel without tension. That's the biggest mistake that you could possibly make. That's going to cause all sorts of problems down the line. So that's why I have this wet rag. So I put the line through the rag, I hold it, and now I can apply tension from the rag itself. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a decent amount of line on here, and there's no perfect way. You can probably do some math and calculate exactly how much of this line you need to use exactly 150 yards of the braid, but I'm just going to eyeball it. It usually gets close enough. And what I like to do is I just like to have on a reel like this, right? This reel can hold 240 yards, and I only want to put 100 to 150. And so I'm just going to try to use about the right ratio of line, and we're getting close. It goes pretty quick, right? This mono spools up real fast, and that should be about enough. So as far as the gap that you want, right? This gap for a 10-pound line, a 10-pound braid that we're about to apply, this is roughly the gap that you want in your reel. And so what we're going to do is we're going to cut the line, cut that, pull the line out of our nice little gadget, and then we're going to need to pull out the braid and do a line-to-line knot. There are an absolute ton of different knots you can use. I just the easy one that I recommend is the Uni Knot. Really, I should say the double Uni Knot. And I'll show you how it works. Again, make sure that the line is still going through that rod guide. All right, we have line going through the rod guide to the reel. And get all this stuff out so you can see it. And so the Uni Knot is basically 2 unis. So we're going to have the lines, the tag ends go in opposite directions. And there's a more detailed video that you can see to do this, but just wrap one around, and then through that loop we just made, we're going to go through it 5 times with the mono. 2, 3, 4, 5. All the wraps need to be going, away from the mono. We're going to put it tight. And now same thing over here. I'm going to grab the braid tag in. We're going to do that quick little loop, secure it. And now through that loop that we just made, we need to make those wraps. But with braid, I recommend doing 2 times mono. So in this case, we're going to go through it 10 times. 2, 3, 4. Let me clean it up so you can see it. 5, 6, 7, 8. And all of them are going in the same exact direction. There should be no overlaps. Kind of see what's going on, right? So we have that one loop, and then the twists are all going one direction, and then they're all going away from the braid. Now we're going to pull that tight, and so now these 2 knots, when we pull them, they will meet, and now we have a secure knot. Put a lot of pressure on there, and this thing is ready to go. So now with their trusty scissors, we can cut really close. This knot is not going anywhere. And even if I get a big fish and it pulls this line out, I'm totally confident that this knot is going to hold. Nice knot, super easy to tie, and very strong. All right, so now we need to spool up the line in our trusty box. So bust a hole in there so it'll rotate. Let's go right through here. Obviously, if you have somebody with you, they can just hold the line. That's the easiest route. But very cheap labor that can be replaced by a cardboard box. All right, so now I just got, I'm just getting this braid on here, and I just have it finger tight just to make sure we have a little bit of line on there and nothing happens with that knot. Now I'm going to get this rag again, get it over the line. And then this is going to be what enables me to apply tension without burning my fingers. And so I'm just going to try to go fast. And so what we're doing is we're just spooling that line again. It's coming straight off the top of the reel, the top of the spool. It's going onto our reel, and I want to continue reeling until the outside edge of the line is about a 1/16 inch away from the top of the reel. At the end, I'll show you. And that's when we know we have enough line, because you basically want to get as much braid as possible, as much line as possible on your reel, without getting too close where you're going to increase your odds of wind knots. The less gap there is between the line and the outside edge of the spool, that's going to help you cast further. That's the pro. But the con is that it's going to increase the odds of wind knots. So it's just a delicate balance. Seems like a 1/16 inch is about the proper amount. Down to 1/8 is okay. Just know that as you lose line, it's just going to decrease your casting performance and your casting abilities. So this is looking nice. We're gonna have just enough line. So we did our eyeball test early on, worked well. And this looks like a good proper amount of line. And all we care about is the distance of the top of the line. So I'm just gonna get a quick look at it overall. Yeah, this looks solid. So we're done. Now we can go ahead and cut the line, and I'll show you what I'm talking about as far as the top of the spool. So it's this top part of the spool that we care about, and we just want it to be as close to the edge as possible, but still have a little bit of gap, because you want a little bit of gap. That's what prevents the line from just all coming off at once. But the smaller the gap is, the easier it is for the line to come off, which means you're going to be able to cast further. So that's it. And now we can look at our line. Again, this is a 150-yard spool. We didn't use all of it. We have a little bit left, but you can start seeing the bottom of the spool. That means that we probably have maybe 120, 130 yards out. So we did an excellent job. That was a good eyeball assessment. And a trick. So now we're spooled, right? We're totally spooled up. A trick for making the most out of your money with braid. So this line, as long as it doesn't get compromised by rubbing up against pilings, this can probably last for a couple of years. Braid lasts a really long time. It's more expensive than mono, but it lasts way longer than mono. So if you use it properly, using braid is actually more affordable. So this should last a while, but if I really wanted to maximize my longevity of line, what I do is, as soon as I spool it up, I go to a park, or I go to some big grassy area, and I walk out 100 yards. I just do 3-foot steps. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I do 100 big steps away. Open up the bale, walk it out, and then I walk out exactly 100 yards, and then I cut it. Cut the line, which seems like a dumb idea, but as long as you have a good knot, it really doesn't matter. So I cut it, and then I tie the double uni 10 times for each side. And then that way, for future respools, I can get a 300-yard spool. So instead of the 150, I'll get a 300, and that would provide me with 3 times three respools, and it'll be perfect. So all I would do when I need to respool it, right, over time, I would lose some line from retying, or maybe if there's an unfortunate wind knot, I would need to have more line on there. And so I would just peel the line out until I got to that knot. And then from that point, that's going to be exactly 100 yards of line to perfectly fill the spool. So that's how you can really save money using braid. Yeah, a lot of people don't bother with it because it's just one extra step, but it is a good way. However, if we didn't want to bother with it, we now know, right, that we just spooled this up, and we used a 150-yard spool. So now we know that we can just peel this line out, get back down to the mono, and I can get a 150-yard spool, and that's going to give me another respool. I'm not going to need more line because we have the base. We have that mono base in there, and it's set properly. So that's it for now. Just wanted to share that tip on spooling. Again, when you do it this way, you're going to have less line twist in your line as it goes out than you would if you did it at an actual tackle store. Because what they do is they pull the spool off, and they have 0 twist in the reel itself, in the spool itself, so that when the line starts going out, then it's going to start twisting. So what we're doing this method is we're twisting the line on, and then so that way when it comes off, it twists off, and then it shoots out straight. All right, well, that's it for now. Just wanted to share just a tip on how to spool these reels. These reels are awesome. With braided line, with thin braided line, a spinning reel is deadly for inshore fishing. And as you saw, it doesn't really take much to spool. You just need a couple things. You just need a spool of mono, a spool of braid, and you need to know 2 knots. That's it. And then you can get a lot of bang for your buck, where you don't have to go out and rely on the tackle dealer to do it. You can do it yourself, no problem at all. And in my opinion, it's actually better doing it this way than having it done at the tackle stores. That's it for now. Leave a comment down below if you have any. Otherwise, thanks for watching. See you again soon.
There's something about the water that'll give you peace, all by yourself or with your family. Live salt strong and wear the line today.